Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're well. Happy Easter to you. I hope your weekend has been brilliant, and I hope your bank holiday Monday, if it's a bank holiday where you are, has also been brilliant. Mine has been great. I've done lots of stuff business wise, been very productive, relaxed as well, cooked myself one of my favorite meals and enjoyed that. It's been a great day. It's been a really great day, and it's over already. It's gone really quickly. So I'm prepping for tomorrow, for the stuff on my agenda tomorrow, and clients that I'm going to meet. So I just wanted to jump on really quickly, just to see how you're all getting on with the other challenges and tasks that I've been setting you from the other videos, and I hope that they've been helpful. Please do comment under them and let me know if there's anything that you need explaining or elaborating on, or if there's something else that you might like to hear me talk on, and I can do a video on that as well. But I wanted to come on today to talk about productivity in the business, and I guess productivity can mean different things for different people. Productivity can mean kind of getting through a task list. That's one of my that's one of my factors that tell me that I'm being productive. I'm getting through my list and I'm seeing lots of red ticks. Productivity might also be about the going and the doing, and feeling that you've met with people that you've needed to, and you've moved the business along in a different direction. It can mean different things for different people, and I guess it depends on where you are in your business and where you are, hey Colleen, and where you are on your list of things that you want to achieve for your business. So I want to talk today about productivity as it relates to your overall business, but how that looks when you have staff members as well, and how you can outsource. One of the key things that I believe for productivity and for business to move along faster than you'd like, and for things to get done faster than you'd like, is to be able to outsource. There's a huge benefit to outsourcing. And you may have somebody who's volunteering and just wants support to get the experience, and so you can give them an opportunity to volunteer in your business, and you can give them some tasks to do. So I know that I did that very early on when I first started. There were people that kind of were interested in what I was doing. They said, oh, they'd like some experience. You can get volunteers from your local council. I know that my local council and neighbouring councils have a volunteers kind of website, and you can post on there what you need doing, and people that are in the industry with the experience that you desire and want more experience in that area, they will put themselves forward, and you can put yourself forward. It's kind of like a little job ad you can put forward, and you get connected with them. It's brilliant. I used a volunteer when I did my free event for the community, and that went really well. He was absolutely brilliant. I gave him a reference, so everyone was happy. It worked out really well. So that's a way of being able to outsource. You can also outsource maybe friends or family that might want to help you. Children, if you've got children, depending on their age and depending on what it is you need doing, it was a great experience for them. It kind of gives them a taste of what you're doing in the business for your family, for them, and for your family at large. The other way that I mainly outsource now is with members of staff abroad and in the UK, and there are different ways that you can source them and find those individuals. There are websites that you can get as well, like Talent Pool, Fiverr, different places to find these members of staff. I would say that what I've learned from working with having members of staff, so when you might remember I did a live video about having an office and whether you need an office or not. And when I had an office, I had a couple of members of staff that came on site. And that was really helpful. It was really good. But I learned a lot through that process. And I've also had virtual assistants who are abroad, and still have one now. And I also have administrative staff that are here in the UK that I can meet with. And so what I've learned a lot over the past, I'd say I started outsourcing probably in my second year, the odd little thing, and I guess that's increased as time has gone on. And I've learned a lot. I've learned mainly about the importance of communicating what you want done, how you want it done, and being really specific. So you might recall in one of my other posts and videos that I did, I mentioned something about what books. I was asking what books, entrepreneurial books, are you reading? Because you're obviously here in this space because you want to become independent. So I imagine you're doing some reading and some learning around being an entrepreneur, around leadership, around being able to progress really personally and professionally. And one of the comments that I put under Treasure's comment was one of the books that I love reading was about the 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. And it's this book. So Treasure, if you're watching, this is the book that I was referencing. And there's like a whole series as well of different things in more detail. And I have most of them. They are really good. They're really digestible. They're funny. And it's done in storytelling. So you get the picture and you get the point. I learned so much from reading this book, and I saw where I was going wrong in how I was kind of giving tasks that was sometimes coming back to me done incorrectly or kind of not done efficiently enough. And I learned that I had to take responsibility to ensure that I did my bits before and not really expect them to know what I wanted, because it's in my head and I've got a visual of it in my head. I'm a visual thinker. And so it's very visual in my head what I want. But having to articulate that in a way that somebody understands and can pick up and run with it and visualize it in their mindset, they can then produce it in real terms, whatever that is, whether that's something creative, whether it's something written, whether it's something, a task that needs to be done to help me do something creative, whatever it is. I learned that I had to be very explicit and specific in what I wanted. And so I've developed over the time ways of being able to communicate that has become so much more effective and reliable, where they're able to see a visual of what I'd like. And I put a lot of work into that. And I prefer doing it that way because then the comeback and the outcome is far more desirable. It means I'm getting the task done in kind of half the time that I was before because they're following the brief that I'm sharing really explicitly. I'm getting their feedback, getting their insight, getting their ideas so that they feel part of the process as well. That's the one thing as a member of staff, you want your staff, whoever that is and however small a role they play, even as a volunteer, you want them to feel part of it because they're then buying into you as the brand, but also into your business and your idea. And it means that they're going to take ownership of it and they're going to feel an emotional connection to it and they're going to want to do their best for you. And so that's important to think about when you're kind of managing those that are working with you, and just ensuring that you're being really clear and really explicit. So the do's, I would say, that are important is to make sure that you've got your own checklist of what needs to be done. And by that, I mean, for example, if I need to create a bumper sticker for this Facebook group, I can't just put a bumper sticker and that's it. What's the process that goes into a bumper sticker? It's finding the imagery, it's writing the content, and you're having to brainstorm what that content and copy might be. So what's the wording that resonates with people in the group? What is it that I want them to understand and know? It's, as I said, the imagery, it's that whatever the colours are, the branding colours, and ensuring that it's the right colours. It's then having to create it on a particular platform, the actual bumper sticker itself, in a particular platform like Canva, for example, or in Word or whatever you might use. And then after you've created it, it's then ensuring that you upload it to the group and making sure that across all the other platforms, you've got the same message and you've got the same bumper sticker, so that there's consistency and continuity, so it doesn't confuse your target audience that you're looking for. Yeah, so there's quite a process that goes into that, and there might be kind of more steps to that I haven't thought of off the top of my head, but in general that will be the steps that you would do for creating a bumper sticker. So it's been that explicit, and then there might be links that you might put to examples of bumper stickers that you might like, that you might give your member of staff to look at to get an idea, so that they've got a visual of what's in your head. You might be very specific about where you want your logo, where you want the wording, what font you want, what images you don't want. So it's making sure that you've got a list. That's a to-do for you. That is a must, that you've got to have a list of what you're clear about and what you want. You also need to ensure that on that list is what you don't want. So that's been communicated too, because they might think of things that isn't what resonates with you. So it's just been really clear and having a checklist. That's the number one to do. Number two, I would say, write it out or have a video of what you'd like describing. So if you're working with somebody who's very visual and very detailed, you can do a video where you're giving them the detail and you're showing them with your cursor what you'd like them to do, where you'd like it, all that kind of thing. Alternatively, you can do it where you write it out in an email and you have a title that titles what the project is, and you give them a deadline. Make sure that there's a deadline. That's number three, is ensure that there's always a deadline to work so that they know what to work, what they're working towards. And I'd always say ensure the deadline is a few days before the real deadline. Okay, a bit like what we do in social work. If a manager gives you a report to do and the report needs to be done on 25th of May, your deadline for yourself isn't 25th of May, I presume. That's certainly how I work. My deadline would be the 20th of May, so that it gives me a few days grace in case any emergencies that always pop up on a Friday can be dealt with. Yeah, and you've still got a few days to finish off that assessment and undertake the task. Or if there are tasks that you needed to do that, you know, you're still waiting for a professional to get back to you, you've still got a 5-day window period that you can wrap things up. So similar thing, you're really just transferring your skills as a social worker into the world of business and making it work for yourself. So ensuring that you've got, number three, a deadline that is before the real deadline. And your deadlines will be marked by when you want to launch things, when you want to progress the business in a particular way, whether it's a product, a service, or whether it's for networking or whatever it might be. You might just have a deadline and a pathway that you're following. And so it doesn't matter how small the task is, it's important that there is always a deadline. So that you've got a parameter and a boundary, because if not, a task can go on forever and a day. So it's important to help whoever's working with you. And I'd say number four, give praise. Always start with praise, and whether it's kind of a negative outcome or not, if you want them to change something or they haven't followed a brief, make sure you always start with a positive. Deliver what you'd like to change and end on a positive. That's important because you want to keep morale high at all times and you want people to feel valued. So it's important that you recognize, even where they might not have done something that you really wanted or they worked outside the brief, the positive of that is they were being creative, and it shows that they've got the skill set to be creative and think independently outside of you just kind of telling them what you'd like them to do. And that's a real strength, and so it's helping them to harness that in the right direction perhaps. The fifth thing that I'd say to do would be would be when you are working with somebody and they haven't followed a brief, I would say it's always important to go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what did I say or do in my messaging that maybe wasn't clear? Because most people won't just ignore the instruction that you've given them. There's usually something about the way it was messaged that was a bit off or could have been worded or structured differently to help the person understand. And when I've done that and I've reviewed, in the past, I've found, oh yeah, okay, I could have said this, I could have said that. People think differently, and there might have been things that I didn't put down or state, which I felt was obvious, but to them it wasn't obvious. And so people come from a different value, a different kind of set of judgments, different ideas on how to do things and when to do things. And so being really explicit is not you insulting them and thinking that they won't know. It's you being really clear. And so always go back to the drawing board and think, okay, what could I have done differently? And ask as well. Ask them, tell me how you like to work. Is there a particular style that you like information to be delivered? And you might pick up on that when you're kind of interviewing them anyway. So those are the 5 do's that I would say when you're working with a volunteer, member of staff, whether they're kind of face-to-face or virtual. There are nuances to working with somebody virtually versus somebody in front of you that you can speak to, because obviously the dynamics are different. And also, I would say your touch points with somebody face to face is going to be far more frequent usually. So I would say that those 5 do's are a must. The don'ts are the opposite of those do's, basically. Yeah, that's what I would say for that. I'd say the number one don't is to not kind of easily give up on somebody who might be struggling a little bit, because I think it's about working together and being able to find where you sync. So you might have somebody that's really vastly different from the way you work, and that's not a negative thing at all. That can actually be a positive, because they'll be able to bring a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh way of doing things that you would never think of. And so it's a really strong skill set to have a team of people working with you that are really different to you, because they will add value to your business and to you personally. You'll grow as well personally. So I hope that was helpful, and I would rave and recommend this book. I loved it. I've read it more than once, and I've gone back to it time and time again. And in fact, I'm probably going to read over it. I think it's just helpful to touch base with it and read it ever so often. I've got all the other ones. I've got another couple as well. They're really, I'm a fan. I am a fan. Ken Blanchard, and he has different people kind of co-authoring the different kind of subjects. So yeah, brilliant books. And there are lots of other books that I read as well, around management, around entrepreneurship, around personal development, business development, understanding how to do things and what not to do. And yeah, it's all really brilliant, and putting them into place and putting them into action is also fun. So let me know what, as I said, what books that you guys are reading, if you've read any at all. And if you haven't, what are the areas for you in starting to become independent that you feel you would like to learn about? Because maybe there's one of the books that I've read that I can recommend for that. And if you have already started on independent social work, what books have you read or are reading or have been recommended to read that has helped you on your journey? I'd love to hear. Thank you for your listening ear. It's great to speak with you all again. Thank you, Colleen, for joining, as always. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Bye.